Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Northstar. Hope you're taking care of each other and being kind to yourselves. So I'm here with Syria. In a fragmented world. So all sorts of silliness. Europe is patchwork. America is still one country. I chose the de-imperialized America, so it's all indigenous nations, although when like civil wars happen, you can have stuff like Vargas comes out of nowhere. Instead of Brazil tried to go communist, they had a civil war, the communists lost the civil war. Now there's Vargas here with the generic focus tree, and he's a European who doesn't really belong in Brazil. He could be limited immigration, but this is a version where the Europeans didn't go and wipe out all the Native Americans. Somehow German Manje in charge of the Mapuche Empire? Okay. Yeah, lots of ideology flips, all sorts of stuff happening all over the world. Why is Zambia democratic of all places? Make a ton of sense. Anyways, so Syria, I tried to buy some fighters from the United States, mainly so I could just get some pilots training and use up the limited amount of free fuel I get. They rejected the deal. I don't know why. They could disrupt the occasional Turkish bombers will go and intercept mission only, and they might still be useful, even though I can't really seriously contest the skies. I guess I can try one more time. The Americans will... Oh, this is sale. The Americans will probably just cancel for some dumb reason. If they do, then I guess I'll just have to accept that this tiny amount of free fuel is going to go to waste. Because I can't afford to divert factories to build aircraft and spend the administrative to raise motorized divisions or anything right now. Heck, I can barely just equip all these infantry and give them some artillery support. It's badly needed. Just trying to get a front line that might have a prayer holding against the Turks here. Sorry, cough. Chronic cough long before I even got long COVID. Just annoying health problems. It does stink. Now, one argument technically of delaying doing the raids I did until later would have been to push over the 50% line when communist support gathers more slowly. But I wanted, the stability is always possible because political power is in limited supply, always. Got the various support weapons and stuff. I could, start on early trucks. They're still useful for, logistics support. I don't remember if reliability is at all relevant for that, but if you're just producing a tiny number and you don't want to spend the research on full-blown trucks. Honestly, maybe not that yet. Got that in the works. Oh, it's already 1939, so yeah, I should be doing some industry stuff. Let's see, raising the cap by a 7th versus... Yeah, this is actually a bigger boost. Was it a bigger boost to factory output? There's a multiplicative lack of resource penalty. I think that's multiplicative. One contributes 0.62. Yeah, it's almost certainly multiplicative. Minus. Because if it wasn't, this would be over 100%, and this would be a bit less than 80. Anyways, the buffs are plus 30%, it's 40%, 60. So, it's like 1/12 gain to factory output. Versus, yeah, no, I'm still way better off with machine tools than with the industry stuff. Bigger buff. Boom, advanced machine tools. Just 2. So I get a little overflow in that. So in fact, we're going to switch to military factories in Damascus next. May eventually do some in Aleppo. I don't know. And stability is just about maxed. When I switch ideology, it will be maxed, so cool. Of course, it won't be maxed during wartime, but in peacetime, it will be. Horrifying aftermath of Chilean earthquake. If I remember correctly, it damages a little bit of infrastructure in one of the states, and I don't know if it costs some manpower. Oh. Okay, they keep canceling that. I don't know why. Let's see where Santiago is, where the thing would be. It seemed to be like a manpower debuff from that. Puche Empire is fascist. Huh. That's... Mexico is going fascist regardless of who wins that civil war. Netherlands are going fascist. England went communist. Nonsense about market dynamicism. Right-wingers always take as unquestioned that, you know, their ideological based economics work regardless of what the facts show, and that left-wing stuff doesn't. No, generally speaking, cutting taxes and just deregulating does not lead to more dynamic market. It leads to monopolies that buy everything up and reduce competition. But whatever, this game is not done with an even hand. It's done by right-wing Swedes who probably don't like social democracy in their country. So wait, if they didn't cancel that deal instantly, did that mean I just wasted some civilian factories for a day or two? Possibly. I probably should just not try and buy any more aircraft in the United States. They keep canceling that deal. No, I'm gonna put these guys here. No, this is just as vulnerable as there. I'll put them there. If I flip these and add a 10 here and 2 6 here, yeah, that might work. Considering I usually want a minimum size of 6 wide when infantry are on the front. So 2 6s, a 10. We'll get a 4. Safest place for that is probably in these mountains, actually. With mountain defense bonuses, they won't suffer crits, even though it says 2 battalions. At least not when fully entrenched. 50, but then, you know, they gain 62% defense from entrenchment, because each 1% entrenchment is 2% multiplied bonus to defense, and the enemy suffers half the normal attack. Yeah, you can have really tiny divisions up in the mountains, which makes sense. You can't fit that many men on a mountainside. Like in one place, you'd end up with a sprawling force across many mountains. Why not have each one have its own command structure, its own support artillery? I mean, obviously there's some reasons why not, but it's a place where small divisions can see the advantages more. I could use the double speed for this, and then ahead of time to get the weapons 3 early. That might make sense. Well, it's starting to get really demanding for steel. Yeah. Let's do that. Probably the best I can do is hope to equip my men well with lots of good rifles. Still got lots of rifles to sell if I want to buy them. Buy my stuff. Why are they marching by foot? I told them to strategically redeploy, so of course they're going to take the soul away and probably suffered attrition because I wasn't watching. Or whatever. Accents happen. In the chat. keeping it open before, but no one was popping. Nope. Keep it open permanently a sec more. Tree of Ergolam. Okay, so Ethiopia is slowly being consolidated. They're conquering each other. Imbella conquered Sidamau. There must be a formidable Ethiopia core. Once one of them controls it all. The cores and the rest is Megas. Another inflexible strategist. At this point I have 4 of them. I haven't got a single brilliant strategist, but I've gotten 4 inflexible ones. Alright, the game's a little weird about the rounding, but I might be able to do an ideology flip now. I might need to reach 51%, full number. Save. Open up political discourse. Discredit government is just a way to... The Civil War required less than 50% stability. I guess that was... Nope. Never. Communist demand referendum. Marxist ideas took root in Syria a long time ago, but have gained much more widespread support lately. The movement has spread outside political theory and into political practice, with disgruntled workers and even some high-profile celebrities voicing support. The communists call this class consciousness. That's not really what communists call class consciousness. Class consciousness is people being aware of the interests in their class and how they conflict with those of the owning class, the billionaires, the bourgeois. The National Bloc called a fast track to riots and treason. Oh, shut it. Showing little faith in Muhammad al-Bay al-Abid with being willing to implement the reforms they demand, the more vocal, which, considering how conservative governments in the Arab world often were, probably some pretty basic stuff like women's rights, the more vocal communists have called for an immediate referendum to have the current government removed. One might be able to reverse the momentum of this mass movement. Failure to do so will doubtlessly result in the more popular communist method of removal: revolution. Alright. Referendum is preferable to a bloody revolt. And now I'm the social state of Syria. Not sure if this guy is randomly generated, I just didn't luck out with leader traits, or looks like a generic, so I could have rolled a leader trait that was useful, but nope. That actually reduced my stability though, because the loss of exposed grew in the ruling party popularity. However, I can rectify that in fairly short order. With some anti-democratic raids now. Since fascist spores have completely disappeared, I might even, if we keep running them, be able to run some anti-fascist raids too. Maybe. We'll see. Still. I'd lose MIO funding, it would recalculate in a bad way. We'll just stick with it. It's fine. Maybe a tiny bit early. Coming of Anglia wants to resupply their ships in our ports. So that's the Brits. British want docking rights. Sure, I'll give them that. It's probably missing on opportunities to sign non-aggression pacts and stuff this whole time before. Could have done that once. Oh, you know, that's probably a good reason to delay the referendum. Also, let's see if I can show you guys what I was talking about with the bug with this. So right now it says... no, it's artillery, but right now it says 750 funds. Watch this. It's gonna go down. No, it still says 750. Didn't, maybe they fixed that bug then. Alright, well... It's 175 to flip. Let's look at nations that might sign non-aggression pacts. This might help keep ports open and stuff. Oh, no, they won't do it, broadly speaking. Sometimes nations in war as well. No, I guess it's not enough solidarity between democracies. Nobody wants to sign a non-aggression pact. But when you flip communist, they will. Oh yeah, and Turkey went fascist while I wasn't looking. That's gonna be a problem. These guys have a British lackey. They actually got assassination of a leader, gave them some civilian war support. They can still end up going the golden square if they want. They just end up with a different leader. I don't know. They won't be carving up Syria, so I don't have to worry too much about them. Could end up forming the Arab League. And I could even get them an off-map factory if relations are high with them. Okay. Fun. So I'll delay ideology flipped slightly. It's knowing it's actually going to hurt my stability. Should I raise the conscription law earlier instead? Maybe, maybe not. I can't Air Force Spirit that just gives it Air XP. Yeah, let's appoint Chief of the Navy to also increases my max command power so I can recruit generals and admirals indefinitely. This means there'll be about 21 more days before I can do the ideology flip, but I probably want to delay it that much anyway, so. I'm starting to acquire some Navy XP. And yeah, the cost of generals without spirits makes it more. Caps out 100, so should be able to keep recruiting generals as much as I want. I have 70 command power. Recruit that guy. Might eventually get a brilliant strategist who's, if I'm lucky, also a trickster. Another thing is an alternative to referendum is they could just wait for the January 1940 elections and flip communists via election instead of via referendum. It could actually be useful, and it would save me the political power of a referendum. 175 political power versus, I think you still lose 5% stability through the election event, but it could be a smarter move. Which case, yeah, I can just raise the conscription law now, which is honestly desperately needed. Yeah, I need more troops. Archduchy of Austria forms the Central Powers. With no viable options for alliances in their immediate area, the Archduchy of Austria has taken to once more reforming the Central Powers. Having broken free from the treaties placed upon them, the country has taken a turn towards remilitarization at a rapid pace, whereas new alliance there is to be anything like its namesake for the Great War not remains to be seen. Kingdom of Romania joined. Well, that's different. Historically, they fought the Central Powers. Well, no, I meant to factions. Shoot. Turkey joined them. And Turkey, I could end up facing a whole bloody faction. Romania might be going communist. might have taken the pro-USSR government before the Soviet Civil War broke out. There's no more Comintern. The Northern Alliance is being crushed, interestingly. Although it can't be entirely, even if Norway loses. I don't think any of the other faction members have actually joined the war. Oh. Norway has occupied Denmark. I didn't realize that. Not all of it. The Norwegian Protectorate of Denmark? Oh, so they're a puppet. And they're at peace. They surrendered, basically. Be interesting to see how this war plays out. Because I think Sweden and Democratic Norway are still at war with Communist Norway. Now they have a pragmatic socialist in charge, no more anti-socialists in charge of Finland. Interesting, all interesting. Fascist Turkey is going to be a real problem for me. If I defy them now, they have the backing of Romania, which can get them troops, and Austria, which can't yet, but if they bully Hungary in or annex Hungary. Yeah. Very well have a whole faction beating down my door. Cool. Oh, these guys trained so I can get some more men on the front. That's why I did the whole conscription thing. Right, the weak point of my front line is here, so I should probably maybe look at turning the 6 width into 8, or maybe just doing another. Yeah, I have the partial manpower and it'll increase over time. Yeah, should be able to another 6 width. Get to 14 infantry here, east of Aleppo. 3 divisions, 14 battalions. So filling 28 out of the 70 width. Let's buy my stuff. Chat, chat, chat. Go in there. Put the bot that monitors for chat, people, you know, fall bots and stuff. It's a defensive bot instead of a scammer bot. Boom. And no overflow actually because the economic capacity surplus getting exactly the right amount in. Probably don't want any more civilian factors anyways. It's all mill from here out. If I aim to survive. Alright, Tudor Tower research finished. In oratory. I might grab big guns, supercharges. And then towards gun mass production. Steel platforms is only tiny, both defense and artillery is very low defense stat inherently, if I remember. 15. It's actually substantial. Or twice the defense to the breakthrough. Make stable platforms if I'm really only thinking about defense. But eventually I need to break through attack stuff, so probably not. We should take breakthrough when we can get it. First would be the challenges to make enough artillery. Probably this switch to artillery when I get the second level. After Mounted Infantry 2. Start this ahead of time, and then this, the 2-year ahead of time reduction. Weapons 3. Assault rifles, and then artillery pieces. Portugal declared war on Spain, huh? Okay. There's no reason to this quite yet. But they could have almost done one out of focus and only delayed by a day there. Not much I can do. I wonder what we're at those. Guess aviation effort. Start getting my RXP passive. We're not going to never achieve the Air Force for a very long time. Soviet Lithuania joined the Soviet Civil War. Huh. Made themselves an integrated puppet of the center. Now the left opposition. Huh. Like Stalin's gonna win against Trotsky here. Interestingly. Let's see. Losses 405,000. Oh, but they still have way more field manpower. So the left might win. Hard to say for sure. More people training. Very much needed. Having enough guns pointed at me is a critical thing to winning. Going the combat with. Clearing reserves too. Just flipping communists via elections since it's already not long till them, only 9 months. They have to put up power of a referendum. Probably actually could have, in hindsight, done with command to come out ahead of Army XP. This does help me get better generals. I'm trying very hard to get competent, talented generals anyways. I've only gotten one trickster and flexible strategist. No, 2 of them. This guy's Mando, which is not nearly as good. Yeah, I should promote this guy, actually. So I can give him a unyielding defender. Increased chance of counterattack even as a general. Doesn't show the things can't be used as a preferred tactic. Street by street barrage. Interesting. Just want to buy my rifles. Okay. Sure. Realistically, if, well, this is the Imperial Periphery. I was going to say if the Boner class saw this much support for communism, they free could be supporting fascists, but, its peripheries aren't probably, it's probably like one guy who's, you know, not even a billionaire, just a multi-millionaire in the country. I mean, it's not that much money. Not a very industrialized country, mostly old feudal aristocrats. I mean, we do have 12 factories in the country, so I shouldn't underestimate too much the level of industrialization at this point. I mean, factory probably generates more profits in the 1930s than it did in the 1800s, so... Compare like 12 factories for a core population of 2.55 million. Pick a nation at the game start that has that level of industrialization. Know real life how much industrial density that represents, and then, you know, find a nation in the 1800s at that level. And yeah, I think there's probably some billionaires in Syria already. I mean, you see them in places like Mexico in the real world today. It's not just rich countries that have donors. Archduchy of Austria declared war on the Swiss Confederation. Okay. Why? And the Central Powers are eating up Greece because Greece decided to attack Turkey, and it's really not working out for them. Region-wide industrial integration is available. Let's see. What other things can consider? I don't think it can maintain free trade while no longer a democracy. Its export focus is as high as a communist nation can normally go, if I'm not mistaken. I probably don't want to do that. The idea being that when you give power to the people, they're not going to vote to completely remove all tariffs, because some tariffs are, you know, locally beneficial. In some cases, they might help another country, but they hurt you to not have. That is. There can be various reasons. Cultural. There can be, you know, differing environmental regulations in different countries. A lot of reasons, really. Got 100 political power and just sitting on it. That's not gonna be too long to Damascus. Runs out of build slots. Yeah, right, I'll do region-wide industrial integration. enable me to scale my factors just a tiny bit faster. Last conflict divided Syria. I guess that's the cost of not flipping via referendum, although eventually they'll be able to improve work conditions. So when I fight this, I'll get a little more communist support, which will slow down the gain even further, and I'll lose base stability. So I guess that can happen regardless of whether I've opened up the political discourse. But the elections are soon, so we'll have to deal with that too much longer. Oh, I can grab Spirit of the Navy. Naval reform. War always changes. Indeed. Treaty of Athens. Greece has capitulated. Indeed. It's been divided up between Bulgaria. Is this newly created? No, Pope Mesa is around focusing. Austria decided to grab Crete. Turkey grabbed eastern Greece. And Bulgaria parts of Macedonia. Leaving Greece with nothing but Epirus. Little rump state. Probably can't even advance their focus tree because they've capitulated, I'm guessing. Yep. Existence that rump state does mean if I ever, say, conquered Turks, I could create a Greek puppet as the generic focus tree, though it's not locked, so cool. So that would not be happening anytime soon. Let's just read off this thing. Communist revolutionary movement, once a fringe popular among radical academics in theory and troublemakers in practice, blah blah blah. Keep dissing communism, keep lying about it. Devs are being snarky about it. It will not change the fact that capitalism destroys itself. Has seen increased support among the Syrian working class. The fact that even more people chose to identify themselves with the class at all implies that Marxist ideas are spreading beyond those who actively seek to overthrow the government. Well, come on, working class is something you hear beyond Marxism. National Bloc members lament this development, longing for a time when Syrian was what people identified as first and foremost a nationalist nonsense, something that's never true. Their concerns are not unfounded. It could be argued the revolution is already underway, occurring on several levels of society. It may be too late to stop the revolution, how people think about themselves. Good. This will increase support, which will be flipping soon. So that'll be one part popularity. I don't like the loss of the base stability, but whatever, can avoid it. Devs this game really do not like communism. For certain. Cool. Some divisions are done training. Merge them up. And these guys are done. So flip these guys. Capitalism destroying itself is why you have Communist China declare war on China, right? Devs this team will have to communism destroy itself, but it's not how it actually works in reality. Anyways, oh, new factory. Historically, the Soviet Union had actually built factories and had a higher long-term GDP per capita as economic production per person growth rate than almost any country in the world. Meanwhile, in the US, wages have stagnated and fascism's on the rise due to that. And wages have stagnated because the logic of capitalism forces wage stagnation. Capital always pursues wherever it can get the highest return on investment, and so that's inevitably developing countries, not developed countries. Mind you, the people in developing countries aren't better off because all the returns on that investment go to shareholders. They make sure to try and keep people in developing countries working for like $1 a week by crushing labor unions and supporting military dictatorships that oppress the people and such. I mean, historically, the United States supported the South Korean dictatorship that crushed labor unions, and the people of Korea basically rebelled against that and eventually forced a republic. Then the US tried to say, oh, we always supported democracy in Korea. No, we didn't. We actually said, oh, they're all communists who want a republic in South Korea. They won in the end, and they kind of marginalized the military dictatorship, but CIA actually helped the military dictatorship to try and track down and imprison people who were pushing for a republic for a long time. Anyways, time for some artillery pieces. Kim Stanley Robinson, the author Kim Stanley Robinson, actually does a really great job talking in his book New York 2140 about some of the logic of capital just pursuing wherever it can get the best returns. There's a lot of finance lingo in that particular book because it's taking place in New York, you know, the capital of finance, so it was, I guess, meant to be thematic. The stuff he says is accurate. He explains it in simpler terms than most people could anyways, even though it's still a decent amount of jargon. Yeah, I know I'm producing artillery. I don't have any artillery templates yet. I will. Support artillery. Gotta have some pieces before I even bother adding it to anything. Might turn some of these 10 width into 11 width. That's turn one of the infantry to an artillery. As I'm going to be getting more divisions, I can count on enemy attacks being distributed more and more evenly. 10 width was not just about avoiding crits, it was about getting a certain amount of coordination, so I don't know. Maybe I want bigger divisions, because if you have too many divisions, you start getting penalties. Usually you don't want more than about 5 in a fight. 4 or 5 divisions. Penalties are small first, so 5 is probably fine. What am I doing for time? About an hour. Okay, mounted infantry, done. Improved infantry equipment 2. Could delay this to reduce the ahead of time penalty, but yeah, it would proportionally Based on how much of the research time was already saved up, reduce MIO funds gain. I gain MIO funds at a pathetic rate since I have very few factories, so it's worth a loss of a few days research time for a substantial amount of funds. That takes my double speed thing once this is done. We'll do this, and then equipment effort 3, and get, assault rifles in 1939 or 40 instead of 42. So, cool. Aviation effort. Oh, to do aviation effort 2, I need something else. Oh, better focus. This is gonna be 2 light or medium frame tech bonuses. This is gonna be 1 light frame. Probably never gonna be producing the bigger stuff just because my industry is so limited. Be able to get an appreciable number of wings. We might be projecting power very far. Yeah. Fighter focus. Because otherwise it would end up... Well, no, I'd have the artillery stuff already been done. Wouldn't I? Let's see, 70 days, 70 days, 70, that'd be 210. The time I really can only do 2 focuses, so I can interject 1 for equipment effort 3. I don't want motorization effort. Huh. Oh. Flexible Navy, of course. This will allow me to grab trade interdiction 1, which will allow me to get the spirit of the Naval Academy that allows sometimes getting admirals with the Seawolf trait, so I can get Lancer right off the bat. My destroyers have some chance even against escorted capital ships. So this training is, I suppose, useful if anyone trains in level 2 right away. But I thought it would already be at war by now. No. Maybe I do that later, but even just grabbing trade interdiction. Ooh. Still gonna be a while even with the cost structure until I can get this. And I'd still need to swap Sinnoh's train. Certainly I'll progress things in the right direction though. I also want to do some silly nonsense like atomic research. Not worth it for such a tiny nation. So where are we on? This allows submarine effort and then destroyer effort eventually, so now I prefer it with fighter. Reinventing naval warfare to account for the advances of submarine technology allows us to strike efficiently against enemy convoys. Versus adapting naval doctrine to combat large ships. Ensuring the safety of our trade convoys will teach us much about what sort of ships we need. Right. Yeah, subs. Spirit of the Division Command. Could grab like stack warfare, but I probably want 5% soft attack? Oh, it's not. Great. 10% max entrenchment. Or a little bit of organization. Infiltration gains. Command power gain. It's much more infantry focused, which is really all I can afford is Syria for a long time. I say that, but the first two are... This gives some armor car and tank recovery rate bonus. A little bit of org. This gives motorized organization. Oh, yeah, more motorized are affordable reasonably max planning, which is just as good as the breakthrough. In fact, better because it gives attack as well. Manpower gain or coordination. More organization. Yeah, I'm gonna say I probably want assault, not infiltration. The sweet, sweet extra max planning bonuses. I think there's more organization on the left side for infantry. Yeah, 5 there. Right there. Yeah, and if you use motorized. Okay, so yeah, mechanized offensive and elastic defense, which means this would be like at least a 1% bonus to 7%. It'd be at least a 3% bonus to attack and defense relative to the army XP. Let's get this breakthrough. Sorry about the mic bumps. There's no such thing as too much trench work. There's always insufficient and barely adequate. Static organization. Actually, it's 3% entrenchment, not 1.6, so okay. It's, yeah, it's multiplicative with other or something. 3%, yeah, it's like 6%. So that's actually better than the next level, the doctrine tree. In terms of soft attack, and that also gets defense, which will let me use smaller divisions. I was talking about before. Some guys are in Aleppo. Actually, I need people on the server more. Fun, fun, fun. And I got a career officer invader. Fun. Garga entrenches better on the shore, but in the long run, could be useful. Versus the tricksters I really want. Alright, the US wants to buy more infantry equipment. Almost all of what I'm selling, actually. Nice. Let's put up all my oldest rifles. Aren't the basic stuff, which is for training. Cool. So give me 62,000 infantry when everyone's trained up. When I have the next level artillery, I'll probably swap this to artillery as well. I got the next factor. I want it to be artillery, and least efficient one be the more resource start. So, boom. convoys up for sale. Maybe someone will buy them all. 13 factories now. Alright, and a whole bunch of guys I'll have to put into various training divisions. So skip to did I miss something? Oh, it's reordering them dynamically. Irritating. 4 width there. 4 width there. 6 wide. Let's tour. Four, 4, 2, 4, 4. Alright, so from 8, 1 battalion to 4, 2 battalion divisions. It might just be the start of eventually turning them to something with artillery, because 2 times is still not nearly enough. That's enough for now. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Take care of each other. Viewers, kind to yourselves. And you always find a guiding star till you get home. Until next time, it's Northstar do. And best luck to you all.